Another comment. I love you and the guest. I was born 3 days after MLK was assassinated. Back in '68 and have read one of his biographies. It does my heart good that we are having this conversation. This one keeps popping up right here, and it's kind of on the topic too that we're already talking about. So it says Ron DeSantis has banned AP African American Studies from being taught in Florida. So, and they're talking about high school. So, boom, it's Black History Month. So, Black History Month, the tokenism. So, Ron DeSantis don't even want that. He's like, there's no. I was reading about it a little bit earlier, where Ron DeSantis says it doesn't have any value. It's like, I don't think we should teach AP African American Studies in high school here in Florida. There's no value to it. So how do y'all feel about that? Brave New Films posted this. It says, one day after quoting MLK, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis just banned AP African American Studies program, saying it lacks educational value. One of the comments, it says, Ron DeSantis, Florida AP African American Studies. One of these three things, AP African American Studies, is the one thing that doesn't lack educational value. One comment, it says, how is this not a violation of freedom of speech? Another comment, it says, this needs to be challenged in court, but it certainly highlights his far-right white nationalism. I guess he believes the independent vote isn't necessary to his presidential run. Yeah, so whatever. If you don't teach AP African American Studies, that's fine. Then just teach history wholly and don't leave anything out. But too bad, that's not how it goes. We learn white history 12 months out of the year. That's interesting. But I have another one with the Ron DeSantis. Let's see. Here it says Florida Department of Education blocks advanced placement course on African American Studies from being offered in high school. New York Times. Florida will not allow a new advanced placement course on African American Studies to be offered in high schools. The state's education department said the course content was inexplicably contrary to Florida law, but did not cite what was objectionable. The Shade Room posted this. They said the state of Florida has rejected the opportunity to have an advanced placement course on African American Studies to be taught to its high school students, stating that the course is not historically accurate and violates state law. How could they teach something that's not historically accurate? I'm sure that's not what it is. So somebody came up with a whole course that just wasn't historically accurate. That makes you wonder, right? So what about the history that they are teaching us? Is that historically accurate? Let's start figuring out what is historically accurate that's being taught in these schools. Let me read this. It says, according to New York Times, the Florida Department of Education sent a letter to the College Board notifying them that the African American Studies course will not be in state's course directory. The department's office articulation wrote in a letter on January 12th stating, as presented, the content of this course is inexplicably contrary to Florida law and significantly lacks educational value. However, they did say if the College Board is willing to come back to the table with lawful, historically accurate content, FDOE will always be willing to reopen the discussion. So, okay. I wonder what in there that they feel is not historically accurate about it. Let's read some more. The letter did not specify which law the course violates. However, the New York Times did note that the state's governor, Ron DeSantis, did sign legislation that limits how racism and other moments in history can be taught in schools and the workplace. The legislation later became known as the Stop Woke Act, Under the law, it stops instruction that could make students feel any responsibility or guilt about the past actions performed by members of their race. So then there goes what it's all about. It says Stop Woke Act. Under the law, it stops instruction that can make students feel any responsibility or guilt about the past actions. So guilt or responsibility is not something that these courses are intending. The people that are alive today weren't alive then. Why would they feel guilt, or why would they feel like they did anything wrong? Just knowing about what actually happened shouldn't make you feel guilty. You need to know. Therefore, you won't do it again, or whatever. You won't allow it to happen again. If you understand how things happened in the past, then you can do something about it for now and for the future. But, that's not what they want. They want history to repeat. They really want us to go backwards. Let me read another comment. It says, let's do one better. Take out Christopher Columbus and them boys too. All history or no history. FYM. So that's a very interesting comment, because you're talking about historically accurate. So how historically accurate is the story of Christopher Columbus taught in school? Especially high school. I don't think that you get any accurate depiction of what the hell happened with Christopher Columbus until you get to the universities. And most people don't go to colleges or universities, so they're never going to hear what actually freaking happened with Christopher Columbus. So historically accurate, because let's focus on the historically accurate then. If the stuff that they're teaching in the AP African American stuff is not historically accurate, take out all of the rest of the stuff that's not historically accurate that's being taught in schools. And a lot of these damn history books are regurgitations of older stuff. They, that recent history is considered controversial, and they're always really particular and scared on how they do it when it comes to history. So that's the reason why the old books just get regenerated and redone and redone and redone. A lot of the stuff that you read in even your present history book that was minted last year or the year before, it's all reprints from history books that was written maybe a fucking 100 years ago. And that stuff was biased and racist and not historically accurate. Let me see. It says reason number 5688 of why I will never move or live in Florida. Another comment, it says, where are the federal lawsuits being filed by Black and non-white parents? Because if you take out AP African American history, then you should take out all of the other AP history courses. Another comment, it says, I just want to see what lie they come up with in 20 years as to who, what, when, how, and why African Americans made it to America and how we were treated. They were indentured servants. That's what they're going to say. They came for work under their own fruition. Another comment says, as a former AP teacher, I can see why this is happening. Most AP students are white. Many Black children who are qualified to be in these classes are being gate kept from them. Sign your kid up for AP classes. We need representation. Another comment, it says, well, then throw entire topic of American history out. Keep that exact same history energy. Telling you. Another comment says, we need more Black school personnel representation within our schools, period. Black students will be encouraged to work to the best of their abilities, and Black school staff will advocate more for courses about roots and history. Another comment says, yeah, because Christopher Columbus discovered America, right? Yeah, he totally did. No, he didn't. Another comment says, won't teach our history, but will teach history that's not accurate. Another comment says, Black history is American history. They just don't want to face what their ancestors did. They don't want kids to know the truth. Another comment, it says, I had to learn about the Holocaust every single year in school, something that didn't even take place in our country. Yet slavery, segregation, redlining, the destruction of Tulsa, the Nat Turner Revolt, all things that historically happened and factual, we can't learn. They wasn't worried about that when they told us Christopher Columbus discovered this BS country. That's a great comment right there. They teach us about freaking everybody knows about the Holocaust. They make you go to the museums. I was talking about that in the other show. Yeah, I've been to the Holocaust Museum multiple times, and there is a museum here in Houston. It's the Buffalo Soldiers. It's the Buffalo Soldiers Museum. It's a little rickety ass building that was somebody's house that they modified into a museum. The guy personally collect all of this stuff himself and did all of this without no funding. There's no other kind of museum like that in Houston that I know of. Correct me, you guys, if I'm wrong, because I don't know of any other one. And it's a little small little thing, and nobody even knows about it. And they don't make you go to that with your classes. But you go to the Holocaust museums. It's big. It's beautiful. It's well lit. It's very, very nice. They even have one where I went, and they had one of the trains. They had a replica of one of the trains that was used during the Holocaust, that you can get on the train and you can see the stuff where people were scratching their names uh, on the in the wood planks inside of the thing. It's really touching, to touch it, to actually physically touch it. And you think about the person who was there on that train, probably knowing that they were going to die, and this was their last little act of rebellion, or this was their last little message to their loved ones, or something to just leave something, you know, and that's really touching. But we don't have that kind of thing here, you know, related to Black history like at all. And when you go to the Natural Museum of Fine Arts, which Houston has really nice fine arts museum, but they have the art completely separated. One side you have, let's say, European art, if you will, is mostly paintings and sculptures, and so Greek, Roman type stuff. And then you have to go across the street to go to the African art, and the building is totally different. It's not as well lit, you know. It's not as nice, not nearly as nice. Go check it out so y'all can know what I'm talking about. And I wrote papers about this, and it's not nearly as nice. It's not well lit. The art is different too there, because, like, the African art was like more tangible type stuff. It wasn't like the pictures that the European art is. But then another part of this that really freaking drives me crazy is all the Egyptian art is over there mixed in with the Roman and Greek stuff. So that's really weird to me that, so like they like the Egyptians, like, they feel like they were you know, the Europeans, the and it's all lit up and beautiful or whatever. So, like, anyways, how you gonna put the Egyptian art over here with the Greek and Roman stuff, and then you put the rest of the African art in a whole nother building across the street? So, last I checked, Egypt is in Africa. Am I wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. So then, if you wanted to separate it like that, that's fine. Put the Egyptian art over there with the rest of the African art. Get the fuck out of here, y'all. California man charged with battery after hosing down unhoused woman. It went